It's been a little over 7 weeks since my crash, but today marks my return to the trails with a bikepacking adventure that I am very excited for. The Capital Divide, a route stretching over 600 miles from the capital of Scotland in Edinburgh to the capital of England, London. My journey will take me through the stunning Pentland Hills, the rugged hilly trails of Northumberland, the North Pennines, and the rolling hills of the Yorkshire Dales. From there, I'll head to the east coast, making my way to the scenic Lincolnshire Wolds before making my way into the bustling heart of London, finishing my journey at Big Ben. This is no small task for me, especially as my first ride in quite some time. But it's an adventure I have been eagerly counting down the days to be finally able to embark on, to be able to get back on the trails, to experience the ever-changing terrain and experience the challenges ahead that an adventure like this brings. I can't wait to experience the beauty and diversity of the British countryside once more, as I pedal my way from one capital to another.
This might be one ride that I'm not actually sure if I'm ready for, but you know what? I want to get back on the bike with a bang. A massive Capital Divide. This time, the true off-road version. Oh yeah, feels good to be back on the bike, although I'm so unfit.
Heading into the evening sun with the fields filled with colour as I headed into the Pentland Hills, the sun shining, the warmth on my skin, a feeling I have missed, a feeling I had almost forgotten. My legs, my lungs had also forgotten the feeling of pedalling these steep hills.
Oh, what a view. The sun just starting to set over there. Oh, it feels so good to be back on the bike, although it feels quite hard to breathe. It's currently 8 o'clock. I spent most of the day getting to Edinburgh, so it's quite a short day to start out with, but it's quite nice because the sun doesn't actually like fully set until about 9:30. It's about 8 o'clock now, so we've got about an hour and a half. So it's going to start getting dark pretty soon, but going to start heading downhill and just hopefully find somewhere to set up the tent and get my breath back. It feels good to be back on the trails though. Let's go find camp.
Oh, good morning, good morning. Joining me today, about maybe like 5 or 6 miles away from Peebles. I have managed to set up camp in like a little woods. Not the greatest place, but it had to do because I had to sort of just go into the darkness a bit to find somewhere. And I've got a slight issue with the bike, which I'm hoping we're going to be able to fix in Peebles. But let me get up, put this tent away, and I'll show you. Okay, so probably can't really see it on camera, but this bearing in this jockey wheel is essentially near enough exploded. It kind of moves forward when you pedal with the force. You can feel it grinding. You can't pedal it backwards, so the chain just gets all slack. Luckily for me, it is mostly downhill to Peebles, and there is a couple bike shops there, so I'm hoping I can just find a couple new jockey wheels there, because I obviously haven't got any on me today. Fingers crossed for that. They don't open till 10, so I've slept in quite late, but hopefully when we get there I can grab some breakfast, chill out a bit, and go and hopefully fix this bike. I was hoping to get up really early because of how late the sun goes down and how early the sun comes up. I mean, it wasn't even dark at like 10:30, 11 o'clock last night, really. I want to ride quite into the day, like into the evening, into the night, just before it gets dark. And then also get up really early on this trip, and because the weather's looking pretty good for the next week pretty much, and I want to see some good sunrises. So we're gonna not be lazy if we can get this bike fixed from now on, and we're gonna get out nice and early and just enjoy them sunsets and sunrises, hopefully. Right, let's go downhill. Hopefully the bike lasts until Peebles, otherwise we'll have to walk. Let's go fix this bike and get some breakfast.
It wasn't the start to the adventure I had hoped for, but as I left from the woodlands where I had slept, the sight of the lush green landscape reminded me why I do this: to be surrounded by nature. Despite not being able to pedal just quite yet, I was simply happy to be back on these trails again.
£47 for some jockey wheels. No wonder bike shops are going out of business, seriously. I normally pay like 10 quid. This is 5 times the price. I mean, it's probably not so much the bike shop's fault, more SRAM's fault, but £47. I think it would have been cheaper to just go home and buy new bearings. Damn. But we are now back underway. The bike is working. I'm £47 short, but we're on our way to London. The sky is blue, the sun is shining. I will have to stop in a minute and put some sun cream on because my skin is not used to it. But we got some beautiful cycle tracks to cruise along coming out of Peebles. I've probably got around 70, probably less than that now, 60 miles until we get to the Scottish-England border. So I would quite like to get there today. I think that would be really cool. Oh, tunnel. We'll see what happens, but it'd be really cool to like camp on the border, I think. Up high, could be good. Right, let's go and enjoy this sunny day of bikepacking. Woo!
Every challenge is a doorway to new opportunities, and with my bike now fixed, I felt the freedom to continue my journey along the Capital Divide, flowing alongside the River Tweed, teeming with life. I soaked in the natural beauty around me. Before long, I found myself ascending into the dusty forest tracks, spinning my legs for the first climb of the day. The midday sun beamed down from the sky as I pedaled along the endless, perfect forest trails.
I'm not complaining, I promise, but it's too hot, too hot. I'm gonna get to the top of this climb, I think, and rehydrate and just try to get a bit of shade for a little bit. Typical British. It's too wet, it's too cold, it's too hot. Doing good though, making good progress. Beautiful route so far, if I don't say so myself. But yeah, done 35 miles, so time for a little break. Hot, hot, hot. This is a good place to stop. Oh, it's so hot, so I probably won't stay here too long because I'll just get burnt, but perfect place for a quick snack. Oh god, the trails have been so good. Fast rolling, following the river, gravel, oh it's just so good. But like I say, it's really hot, for me anyway. Luckily there's lots of nice cold streams to get water from. But yeah, I'm going to stop here. I think I've got like 10 miles maybe until we come through a little town, village. I'm not even sure what it is. But hopefully there'll be a little shop and we can maybe get an ice lolly or something. But 30, nearly 40 miles done today. Definitely can tell I haven't been riding too much. But this is how we get back into it. Oh, it's nice. I'm just going to sunbathe for a little bit and eat some food and then crack on. I think there's maybe another 40 miles until the border. So try and get there today at least. What a day. Currently at about 60 miles, just over 60 miles now. Just have a quick wash. It's just so hot. It's currently about 6:30, but I'm very, very close now to getting to the border, less than 10 miles, but it is all uphill. And funnily enough, as I head into Northumberland and to cross that border, at the border is the highest point of the Scottish section of this this ride. But yeah, it's getting hot, man. Too hot. I'm just gonna cool off here, have a little wash, and then crack on and get above get to that border before sunset, which is not for ages anyway. Oh, it feels so good. I can definitely feel it in my legs. I can definitely tell I have not ridden in a while. Right, uphill we go.
Making the most of the tree-covered Roman road, I sheltered from the afternoon sun, getting closer and closer to that border. The afternoon felt magical as I glanced back at the hilly, winding country lanes I had conquered. But even more importantly, I looked ahead, focusing on where I needed to get to before the sun would set. Northumberland was in my sights. Them big lumps in the distance, that's the border, that's where we're going. Northumberland, the border of Scotland and England. One descent and then one climb, and then hopefully find somewhere to sleep for the night. Oh, it's been a good day. It's been a good day. Sun getting lower and lower in the sky, now shining on my back as I neared the Scotland-England border. Just one big climb laid ahead of me. But just before I could make it to that border crossing, I stumbled across the most perfect spot to set up my tent for the night. I would watch the sun disappear behind the rolling hills before a peaceful night, listening to the gentle stream running between the hills.
Yeah, why not? One more day of the smelly socks. Bikepacking, embrace the smelly feet. It's nice and early. It's about 5 AM. Just gonna get out of the tent. Yesterday was such a good day. Everything really, to be honest, after the initial fixing the bike, just felt really good. It felt like I was always going in a downhill direction. I just love it when you're descending and then your descent turns into another descent. It's just so good. I didn't quite get over to the border. I'm very close, probably a mile away. I just found the perfect camp spot, so I had to stop. But today we're heading into Northumberland. As I'm heading into Northumberland, right at the start, really early, and the Northumberland section on this route is around 60 miles. I think for the next couple days, what I'm going to try and do is today I'm going to try and get through Northumberland. The next day I'm going to try and get through the Pennines, and then possibly the next day, which will be the hardest one, will be get all the way through the Yorkshire Dales. That could be a good challenge. But yesterday felt like it was all downhill, but today's start, well, it's not. Oh. Tell you what, it's fresh out here this morning. The sun hasn't got to us yet, so today my start isn't quite a nice flowy downhill or a nice pedally gravel section. It's a bit of a hike, a very steep hiker bike as I head up and sort of around this hill. And where that's, you don't know if you can see it, but that bit of sun on the hill there, that's pretty much the border. Once we get up to there, we're at the border, we're crossing to England, and we're into Northumberland. So I'm going to pack this tent up because, oh my god, it's cold out here this morning. And let's get warmed up hiking up this hill. Oh, it's good. This is a good camp spot though. I did think about camping in here. I wonder if it's as wet out. I did think about camping in this little sheep pen because there was quite a good ground there, but where I was, I had the beautiful sound of the stream coming past, so it was super perfect really. Just as I got into the tent now, I couldn't stay out here too long because the midge did start to come, but it's so cold right now, they're either frozen or they pissed off, thank god. Right, let's get this tent packed up before they arrive again, and let's go uphill. Up we go. England, here we come. Here we go.
Early in the morning, I faced a steep challenge, pushing my bike higher and higher up the hills. The morning sun greeted me. Its warmth on my skin felt incredible after the cold, fresh start. Reaching the top of this climb, I was met with an overwhelming stillness. The glistening sun hung in the sky, with no wind and no movement, just pure tranquility.
Now back in England. A little bit more climbing to go until I get to the top of this hill for a bit of a descent. Today is Sunday, which is like the worst day for bikepacking, I think, because trying to like find somewhere that's open in these tiny little villages and stuff to resupply is always a nightmare. I've probably got enough that I can get through most of today with the food I've got, if I'm careful if I ration it a bit. But hopefully I'll find somewhere. I know Holt Whistle will be like the main place. I will be going through a couple of little places, but nothing too significant. Right, wet feet from the boggy trails, but we are now back in England and the sun is still shining. Yes. Top. That was one long slog. We made it. It's all downhill from now, right? Look at the views. It's incredible up here this morning. Well, I'm gonna have to take a route detour now. I'm gonna be going down here to get through to like a forest track or the other end. But as you can see, all the trees have fallen down. I think there's another way around, but it's kind of long to go all the way around and then back round. It's just turned into one long ass slog. I know once I get on through this bit of woods, it's really nice gravel trails, but whether I can or not remains to be seen. Oh god. Well, that's a big fat nope. You know, the telltale sign that you're back in England, it's these things. Gates. Gates after gates after gates.
Despite a less than smooth start to the day, it was a relief to finally find myself back on the trail I had set out for. Another day of epic adventure awaited me, with Northumberland posing new challenges with every pedal I turned, the steep and incredible gravel roads making each turn of them pedals a test of strength and determination.
Beautiful, brutal day. Just come through Otter, I don't know, and along all the military roads. Man, them roads are fun. The long ass descents, long ass climbs, but generally it was good. Today has been very slow going. After this morning, all that hike a bike, I've only done about 40 miles. I've got about 30 until Holt Whistle. I don't think I'm going to quite get there. I might. It's already about 4:30, 4, I don't even know, 4 I think. So I'm just going to try and do 20 miles or so, 25. I know I've camped just before Holt Whistle before, so I know a good little spot that I can pitch up for the night. But we got a bit more climbing to do. And then tomorrow we'll be going into the North Pennines, so that'll be fun. But just had some nice cold drinks, sugar, strawberries, well, strawberries in a tin, but you know, they're good. So now let's get these next 20 or so miles done, and let's find somewhere nice to camp. Finally stopped for the day. I actually managed to do just over 65 miles, I think it was. I've got a few miles away until I'm technically out of Northumberland, I can't say it now. That's it. Oh, midge. Yeah, it was a brutal day. It was bloody beautiful, but brutal. From this morning, everything was very wet, so this is my jacket drying here. I've set up the tent, however, it's very wet, so I'm just sort of letting it dry out a bit. Let the inner dry out. The real problem with this tent is too big. I camped here perfectly with the soloist. This one's just too wide. It's just hard to get into places. I'm having brake issues. Issues being basically don't have any brakes. My rear one, I had to change the pads earlier, and I think, to be honest, I can fix it. I just need to take it off. I think one of the pistons is just not moving. And then the front one, I have no idea what it's doing, because it sort of works, and then like if I'm pushing it, it works, but then when I'm going fast, it just doesn't really do anything. So I'll have a look at that in the morning, I think. Right, anyway, stop waffling on. I'll see you bright and early in the morning. Whew, Northumberland, you were tough. Good morning, good morning. That was such a good sleep. Oh, I slept from like 9:30 to about 6 this morning. So I'm feeling quite revived from yesterday's ordeal. But today we got to go to Holt Whistle, pick up a few supplies, try fix these non-existent brakes. Before we get on into today, first point of call is to get to Holt Whistle, just a couple miles away, and then fix the brakes and get some resupplies before slowly but gradually heading to the highest point on this ride for the whole entire trip actually. So that should be fun. I've done the climb many times, but I must have brakes to do the descent. Right, off to Holt Whistle we go. Oh, it was so peaceful last night. Midge around this morning though. Let's go. Oh, let's go. So far, the rear brake is now working. The piston, it was the piston. One of them was just stuck, so that's just like popped out eventually, and now the rear brake's working. So I'm looking at the front brake because it's been just like, it's felt really lacking of power, which was worrying because normally that means either air in the system or I don't know. But looking at it now, no pad in. If I press the lever, the pistons do move, but there looks like there's some fluid, some hydraulic fluid coming out beside the piston as well. So it looks like the pistons are knackered and seals are obviously fucked. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to fix this. I'm just going to play around, put a new set of pads in, maybe push the pistons in a bit more, I don't know, we'll see. I'll see what I can do. Wasn't fluid, I don't know, but they're working, kind of. A bit squeaky, but they're working.
Yet another day on this adventure began with a new problem to solve, but it seemed I had managed to overcome it, at least for today. My morning unfolded with an easy pedal along the old railway line, leading me to the incredible Lambley Viaduct, picturesque viaduct built in 1852. This Victorian gem was once a vital part of the railway line between Alston and Holt Whistle until its closure in 1976. Standing over 100 feet tall and stretching 850 feet long, it impresses me every time I get to cycle over it. It's so windy. I'm just about to get to the hiker-bikey part and I've just got a headwind funneling through this valley. It's just going to be crazy, and The weather can't really make up its mind. I knew I wouldn't get the whole way to London without any rain, but it's like the clouds that are passing by, they're carrying a bit of rain. We got a hike. I am making quite good progress though, but I think I'm going to put my jacket on now because this wind is quite cold. I'm not really looking forward to this hiker bike. Normally, this hiker bike isn't really that hard because it's not overly steep, but there really isn't a trail to follow, so it can be a bit boggy. But once you get to the top, the descent is awesome. Right, let's try and climb this. First things first, let's get a jacket on, it's getting cold. Ah, yes. Time for some bog. This is what I mean. Like the trail, it just looks really good and then it just ends. And then where it's just all like torn away from the river and then it sort of picks up again there. It's really quite random. But it's just a hike through some bog and some awkward trails that aren't really trails. You gotta be a bit careful on this bit because it isn't much of a path to follow. I found myself battling the elements as I made my way to the highest point of this adventure, pedalling when possible and resorting to pushing my bike when necessary, following closely to the winding rocky river as the wind tried to push me back. Right, I'm nearly at the top now. I'm at 2,157 feet high. The top is just up there along that ridge line. Normally by now you have like a nice view, you can see the observatory, but today you can't see that, so you don't really have like that visual guide, that visual goal of getting there. But behind me looks bloody sunny. Up there, not so much, a bit cloudy, so we're going to be descending through the clouds. I think the top of this hill is about 2,400 to 2,500 feet. We're nearly there. Here we are, we're at the top. There's a great view that way, although the clouds are rolling in. It's time to descend, the awesome descent. Let's just check the brakes. Yeah, rear one's working. How's the front one? Okay, it looks like it's working. I'm just gonna take it easy down here. I'm gonna control my speed and not go too fast, because anything over like 25 mile an hour, it just seems to not feel that great. But let's see. Let's just do a little test. Oh, my horn's working, that's good. I love this descent. I just wish my brakes were working fully. And these chutes don't fall out. Gonna take it nice and slowly. Oh, it's sunny over there.
Oh, the sun's out, kind of guns out. Going to be now heading over to the Yorkshire Dales. Probably got about 10 miles until we get to something Kirkby Stephen. Is that the one? Terrible with names, obviously. The sun is shining now. I'm making good progress actually now today. Done about 45 miles, probably a bit more now. But I'm hoping to get to the Yorkshire Dales tonight so I can find somewhere to camp. It's currently about 4 p.m, so plenty of time, plenty of daylight left. And yeah, should be good. I've got like a long drag for the next, I don't know, 20 or so miles. So let's go to the Yorkshire Dales. And, yo! Right, let's go to the Yorkshire Dales.
A great feeling knowing I was getting ever closer to leaving the hills behind, but there was just one more hilly national park to get through. The Yorkshire Dales, a place I love to ride, with its endless windy roads and descents. I would push myself to get deep into the Yorkshire Dales tonight, while the weather was looking good and my bike was working well, enjoying the epic views that the Dales are famous for. I would pedal up high to find a spot for my tent tonight. I would sit back and watch as the clouds rolled over the hills in the distance. Those clouds rolling over the hills from the west always means one thing. I would be waking up to a whiteout. Waking up in a cloud was one thing, but with the wind howling and my brake not working at all today, it meant my next few miles to Bainbridge would mostly be hiking, riding only when the hills were against me. I would try to fix the brake as I did the previous day, but nothing was working. I tried to push on into the wind up along the old Roman road, while the wind would try to push me back the way I had come. But ultimately, this adventure had to end. I wouldn't make it this time. Sometimes letting go or giving up is just a temporary detour. A detour to return stronger, wiser, and more prepared for what lies ahead.